Hey guys, and a very warm welcome back to What's for Tea, and I hope that I find you all very well indeed. Or if you're new here, a big warm welcome to you also, because I know we've had quite a lot, of new subscribers the last couple of weeks, so hello to you as well. Right guys, tonight I'm making a traditional Scottish oat cake, and I can't actually believe that I haven't popped this recipe up beforehand. I mean, it really doesn't get more Scottish than oat cakes. If you've never heard of them, they're basically a savoury biscuit. You can put anything you like on them, but I think they go particularly well with some nice tomato soup. I just usually put a wee bit of butter on top and a wee bit of cheddar cheese. It really is a match made in heaven. But you can put whatever you like on top of them. You can even put, something sweet on top like jam or honey, something like that. But I think they just go fabulous with some soup, and they're really easy to make, and they're quick, and they're quite cheap also. Right, so this is what you're going to need if you want to follow along with my wee recipe. First of all, I'm using 40 ml of tepid water. That's not hot and it's not cold, it's just somewhere in between. I'm using 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm using 115 grams of fine oatmeal. You can use a rough oatmeal if you prefer, or even porridge oats. It just depends, if you like a fine oat cake or a rough oat cake. I prefer a fine oat cake, so that's why I'm using fine oatmeal. I'm using 55 grams of plain or all-purpose flour, 45 grams of unsalted butter. The reason I use unsalted butter is because we're actually adding salt, so you don't want them overly salty. And I'm also using 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Right, so let's move on and we'll see what we do next. The first thing you want to do, guys, is get your butter melted. Like I said, this is 45 grams of unsalted butter. Just pop it into the microwave for a minute or so and you'll get a nice lovely melted butter just like this. And you can just set that to the side for the time being. The first thing you want to do is get a large bowl and pop in your oatmeal or porridge oats or whatever oats you're deciding to use. Then you want to pop in your flour. This is 55 grams of plain flour. And then 1 teaspoon of salt. And then 1 teaspoon of baking powder. So this is just basically your dry ingredients. And you just want to go in with your hands and give everything a good mix together. You can do this with a spoon or a fork if you like. I quite like the feeling of flour. It's got a really nice texture. So this should only take you a minute or so. And then you want to make a wee well or a wee hole in the centre of your dry ingredients. And we're going to start adding our wet ingredients now. So next you want to pop in your melted butter. And then your water. You might need a wee bit of extra water. It'll really depend, because you want it to form a kind of dough, but you don't want it to be sticky or sticking to your hands. So try it with this amount of water first. See how you go on. You can always add a wee bit more water, but you can't take it away. So just add it as you need it. And it should be looking something like this. So you can pick it up and mould it into a ball and it's not sticking to your hands. Just pick up any wee extra bits that you might have dropped. We don't like any waste, as I've said before. So this is absolutely perfect. And like I say, it's not sticking to my hands at all. If it was too dry, I would have added a wee bit extra water, but this was perfect. And this is what you're looking for. So the next thing you want to do is lightly flour your work surface. This is just to make sure that your dough doesn't stick. This is just plain flour again. Just a wee drop. You don't need a ton. Pop your dough down and then we're going to roll it out. And again, you can do these as thick or as thin as you like. I mean, traditionally these are quite thin. So I rolled mine out to about 4 millimeters thickness, but it's entirely up to you. You just want to try and get into a sort of circle or a square circle, a squircle. It just makes it a wee bit easier when you go to use your cookie cutter if it's in a kind of round shape. So just keep rolling until you're happy. If it starts to break up at the edges, don't worry. You just squash them back together again. Because it will happen because it's such a dry dough. Or dry mixture, I should say. So this will just take you a few minutes, guys. And I was happy with this. And then if you've got a long knife or a long spatula, just run it under the underside. Mine's didn't stick, but it's just to make sure, it isn't stuck to your surface. You could even do this in some parchment paper or some greaseproof paper, if you prefer. And I'm using a 6-inch cookie cutter, and I'm just going to go around my dough, cutting out my shapes until I've got no dough left. So this recipe, guys, I'll make 10 oat cakes, but if you want more, just double up the recipe. And you'll get 20 or 30 or however much you're looking for. And if you store these in cling film or an airtight container, they'll stay fresh for a couple of weeks. They're actually better the next day because they really, they firm up really well overnight. So once you've cut your shapes out, you just want to transfer them to a baking tray covered with some greaseproof paper. And your oven should be set to gas mark 5. I think that's 180°C. I actually had my oven between 4 and 5. You don't want your oven too hot. Just a sort of low to medium heat. And I'm just going round mines and, getting rid of any wee crumbs that may be sticking out. And I'm just going to roll my scraps up and see if I can get any more out of the dough. Like I say, I actually ended up with 10, with a wee bit of extra dough left over, which I just threw away. I was pushing my luck. I wasn't going to get an 11th. So I got 10, so I was quite happy with that. So 2 more, and then we'll just pop them into the oven. So you want to give them about 20 minutes. You don't want any colour on them. Well, they shouldn't be brown, really. It should just be a nice sort of pale colour. If pale is a colour, is that a colour? Like I say, I'm just going round the sides and just getting rid of any wee crumbs that might be sticking out. I just think it looks a bit nicer. So I'm going to do this one last time, and I'm going to get one more out of my dough. And that was that. And just tidying up the edges again. And I didn't have enough left over to make another one, so I just threw this wee bit into the bin. So like I say, guys, pop these into the oven for about 20 minutes, gas mark 5 or 180°C. Just keep a wee eye on them. Then when they come out of the oven, they'll be looking like this. Just give your tray a wee shoogle. That just means a wee shake, a little shake, just to loosen them in case they've stuck. But these were fine. Like I say, I absolutely love using greaseproof paper. Nothing sticks to it at all. So let these cool completely. Transfer them to a wire rack. Should probably take about half an hour to cool. Or you can have them right away, it's up to you. But I prefer when I put my butter on, that it doesn't melt I like my butter to stay chilled on the top of these. And once they've cooled, all you have to do is gobble them up. So like I say, guys, I just like to use some butter and cheese. I actually had some Stilton in the fridge, so I popped a wee bit of Stilton on and a wee bit of onion, caramelised onion chutney. And these are perfect for just sitting in front of the TV with a wee glass of wine or a cup of tea and watching a good film or a good documentary, something like that, and just having a wee, and you know, a wee slow munch of these. Perfect. Like I say, they do go fab with tomato soup as well, but it's up to you. So that was it. What did we think? This was me the other day. We went to Dunure Harbour and Dunure Beach. We just love it there. It's so quiet and serene, and the view is absolutely, you know, it's breathtaking. It's got such a lovely view of the coastline. And there's Dunure Castle there as well. Fabulous. And here's my wee cat again. This was him in New Year. We got him a wee bottle of Prosecco. Can you believe that? They do wine for cats. Well, obviously there's no actual wine, but I think it's designed to make you think it is, but it's ultra cute. I love things like that. So that was it, guys. That was my wee recipe for the Scottish oatcakes. Mind and let me know what you think. And thanks to all of you who have taken part in the giveaway so far. And like I say, I'll let that run for a week and then I'll pop a wee video up letting you see who the winners are. So yeah, super exciting. So until I see you next time, guys, take care of yourselves and I'll see you then. Bye now.